Pounders. Welcome back. We're officially back from vacay, and I wish I could say it was best ball summer in Mass, but we've had rain like 13 of the last 15 weekends. So we're still waiting on that good weather. Awesome show tonight. We're going to go through the ADP risers and fallers over the last week in BBM6. There are a couple names in there that are surprising. Then there's a few that you probably won't be too surprised. But we have Billy Jones with us to go through all of the risers, the fallers, and we have a little secret segment at the end of the show to get into. Billy, how's it going? You doing a little housework in the back, or you didn't get your Burrow stack 72? Which one is it?
I would do this if I didn't get my Burrow stack at like 48, not at 72. As I said, I've been doing a fair amount of like housework. Not me personally, but we had electrical redone at the whole house. So we've been out of the house. I'm now back in the house. It's a disaster zone. There's 150 of these around my house right now. So yeah, it's wild. I'm not even in my normal office because we moved the internet. It's just not as good right now. So we're figuring it out. But I'm excited to be back and actually talking football today. I feel like it's been a couple weeks since we chatted.
Hell yeah, yeah, a little catch up, if you will. But at least we've had a little bit of news since we've had the Dobbins signing in Denver. We've had Chubb in Houston. We've had kind of like the A-Rich injury news sort of come out. There's some FUD there with what's going on, getting seen by a second doctor. Is he going to be ready for training camp? Is he not? Jones getting some positive news. And then Rodgers going to Pittsburgh is the main topics most likely for this week's Epi. And we have the ADPs brought to us by bestballoverlay.com, where you can check out the 7-day risers and fallers 30-day, or just set it to contest open. And as well as, I mean, you can check out any player you want as well. But let's start with Dobbins at up 24 spots. And he might not be done here yet based on where I have him ranked in it's in the range of Ray Davis and Tajay Spears. Maybe I can pull up Underdog as well on the side. Where do you think Dobbins is headed here? He's at 148 right now.
Yeah, that's a good question. So with Dobbins, I've not drafted him one time, and I feel kind of stupid about that just because like we should have known he was going to land on a team, and when he was going to land on a team, it wasn't going to be in like a straight zero role. That was kind of so. This should have been expected, I guess. This is a pretty ideal landing spot for him. I think he could be like the guy that's really good at the beginning of the season and passes it off as the season moves along.
Yeah.
But how high is he going? I mean, he's going to be Ramondre maybe. I'm trying to think. This is all like the
Yeah.
same level
Yeah.
tier of like good backups. Is what I would think this like, or just all just direct RB2s.
I agree. I would have him. I'd have him behind Stevenson, but I do agree. Like he's going to, call it. He's going to fly up to the 150, 140 range. He's there, and now he's going to trickle into the 130s and eventually into the 120s. I don't see him in any way like catching up to Charbonnet, like 115 range. I think that would be too high. But yeah, Jaden Blue, he passes a lot of these guys already. So maybe a slow climb up to the Tajay Ray Davis range there. Pretty spot on. Yeah, I agree. It's going to hurt Estime the most. It's going to hurt Jaleel McLaughlin, these number 3, 4 guys, and we'll see how the backfield shapes up. But they like to use several backs there. And Harvey, how much of a hit, if any, are you going to give to Harvey? Right now he goes 0.1 behind Kamara, so it looks like the writing on the wall is there with Kamara passing him in the next day or so. Are you putting him behind Travion Henderson, behind James Conner?
He doesn't have like, I don't know. He doesn't have, in my mind, what he isn't like materially changed based on J.K. Dobbins signing. Maybe it's a
Right.
little more annoying just because like he wins every single touch outcome doesn't seem like as much in play anymore.
Right. Right.
That being said, like we know what the market's going to do, and the market's going to drop him a little bit, or a lot bit. I think James Conner is a pretty good line. I think of him to go down below,
Mhm.
but I don't think it'll be fast. I think he's still like a pretty exciting guy to hitch your wagon to. So I don't think it's going to be this like snap drop off the board kind of deal.
Yeah. I agree. I think Kamara's going to go ahead of him, no doubt. Does Connor? That one's interesting. Connor versus Harvey. Who would you rather have on your lineup week 17 is like another good question to ask yourself. Where you think
Mm-hmm.
Harvey's going to be heating up, and where you think Connor may or may not be playing. I hate to guess injuries, but it's James Conner season every season for me. But the injuries are definitely a thing. But yeah, there's not too much room for him to fall, especially when you categorize it by not just ADP, but the RBs that go behind him. There's only about
Mm-hmm.
3 there. I don't see him going behind D-Mont. So yeah, I agree. It's not really going to change too much for him there with the JK coming in. Miles Sanders. this one's interesting. He's still in 17th, 18th round, getting some positive buzz, but Javonte is still getting positive coach speak as well. Miles Sanders just sort of gets tagged along into that. Like Miles Sanders looks good as well. It's sort of like some of the coach speak that's been coming out recently. In splitting some of the first team reps. I like Jaden Blue in the 130s might be a little too aggressive too early, especially before the training camp news. But Sanders, are you touching him at all? Or are you just gonna wait for more?
Yeah, I don't even know if it's like wait for more. I feel like we know who Miles Sanders is, and if he is standing out, like that's a problem. If he's standing out to me, that means that like this like passing game is wheels up, and they may have to lean into that even heavier. So I don't know. I've not like I mean maybe mix him in stacks and kind of like bring backs and such, but I don't know. Not he wasn't a target before because I from like a talent perspective, and I don't think that changes too much now for
Mm.
me. Um, yeah, I think this could be more of an indictment on the other guys that are drafted ahead of him.
Yeah, I was sort of hoping he would just get cut, but and that's coming from a Jaden Blue fader. I don't know if he's getting positive coach speak. I think it's just probably a bad thing for Jaden Blue at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day. Like Jaden Blue's upside is an injury to Javonte or Javonte sucking, but now you have the second vet and we know they brought back dusty old Zeke, right? They kind of have a way of doing things in Dallas. One is avoiding offensive pieces in the NFL draft. That is one that I warned everyone of during the big board shares with Javonte. But yeah, same thing. I'm just kind of pick blind to Sanders right now, and I'm on the Javonte wagon at that like 14% clip. But Nick Chubb up 14 picks up to 180 after landing in Houston, a team that definitely, most certainly needed some more RB depth with Woody Marks there, up to 180. Let's pull up the range, and if you think he's going to go up any higher. Next up is Rico, Jalen Wright, Braylon Allen, Roshan.
I mean, sure, why not? I actually want to like flip this back to you at like a price like this. How much do they have to impact? Like, how many times do they have to show up in your score? Does one or two
Mm,
big games get you there?
right.
Because if that's the case, I think that Nick Chubb is aligned to do that. But if
Mm.
he's becoming like a core piece of your team, I don't think he's going to be like this.
It's
I don't think he's taking over Mixon's job.
no, it's an interesting talk, right? Like his upside is like on the 1 yard line, right? If
Mm-hmm.
you're on the 5, who's getting it, Mixon or Chubb? Like I just don't see Chubb really being too much of a nagging pain for Mixon. Is the upside there for first and second down carries? And this is a guy that does not like touch the ball on third down. Is the upside there? with a Mixon injury on first and second down, sure. But like, what explosiveness does he have left? Like at that point, and I'm not a Rico guy, I'd probably just rather Rico or Jalen Wright in this range. But I think Nick Chubb, depending on the way you build out your team, if you need some 5-point games with the upside of like a Gus Edwards type with like the 11 point, does he sneak in a 2 touchdown game this year? I wouldn't be overly surprised. But on like 64 yards is like what we're looking at for the upside, like an 18-point game. I think there's higher upside, but if you need maybe a floor play, he could make sense in some lineups.
Yeah, and I think I totally agree with that take. And I think what this also means for Houston is if Mixon goes down, Woody Marks isn't going to be like full run. It's going to be a Chubb like grinder, Woody Marks like catch passes. Like it just doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't. That's how the plan B would go.
Right. Yeah, and I think this is more telling about how they think about Dameon Pierce, right? Still on the roster. They still felt like they needed someone else. So I do think he would get the majority if Mixon would go down, but yeah, it's pretty capped at 180. Maybe he passes some other positional players, but like, who would you rather? If you had Chuba go down and you had Mixon go down, would you rather Dowdle or Chubb?
Dowdle.
Yeah. If you had Achane go down, would you rather Jalen Wright or Nick Chubb with Mixon down?
Jalen Wright.
Yeah, right.
Like I think Jalen Wright's still got a lot of juice. Like,
yeah,
Braylon Allen's got a lot of juice, in my opinion. These guys, Roshan Johnson's kind of like, I don't think he's
right. We'll see. We'll see.
But like, I don't know. Roshan could be the guy. Swift kind of like finds coaches to hate him, finds ways to get coaches to hate him. So like, I don't know.
Especially previous coaches that hated him already.
They're back.
Yeah, Roshan's interesting for that reason, but
yeah,
I like Roshan at that ADP. Calvin Austin up 10 picks now that people know how to correlate him potentially. Now that the Rodgers news in Pittsburgh, also Pittsburgh, like what are we doing at wide receiver 2 here in this offense? People are kind of begging for some info. Calvin Austin, Roman Wilson. Does Lazard somehow get moved to Pittsburgh? Randall Cobb, is Randall Cobb coming? Like, people want to know. So up 10 picks on Calvin Austin. Are you drafting any Calvin Austin?
Yeah, I actually have been. So the first 3 guys, I was like, nah, get it, nah, thanks. But this Calvin Austin's interesting. If he gets expensive, it's not going to be the case. But like for a while, he's been this like last round pick that you could just kind of slap on if you needed someone who, in a best ball profile, like seems to fit that pretty well, like pretty quick, can do a lot on some not that many targets kind of guy, run into a long touchdown. So I thought that was interesting after Pickens left. And now that him and Aaron Rodgers that's a known thing. It's a pretty easy way to kind of like backstack it. Hit that plus Freiermuth, and you're like, that's a nice, like, it's actually a pretty logical backstack. If you wanted to do it. So we're like, oh shit, I don't know what I'm doing with this team. But I think that Calvin Austin's interesting. I think he's had some positive coach speak about being the wide receiver 2 as well. So I don't know. Arthur Smith doesn't throw the ball a ton, but Aaron Rodgers does. So something's going to have to give.
Right. Well, it's only a matter of time before Rodgers becomes the coach by week 7, calling his own plays. So I probably have to mix in a little more Austin than I have been. Maybe a little pick blind to it right now, but Rodgers with a good deep ball, it's definitely good for Austin. It's good for all the pass catchers there. But maybe, like, even if Rodgers doesn't have to do as much with a good run game, like, these guys are still going to spread the field, and you're going to get some accurate balls, hopefully, from Rodgers with better protection.
And like, we're drafting this next team that we're going to talk about, the Colts wide receiver 4. Like, I don't think the Colts are going to be super pass heavy. Actually, under Flacco they were, and like some of the guys that just chucked around. Anthony Richardson, though, no. So like, Calvin Austin's looks to be the pretty clear wide receiver 2, not a wide receiver 4 on with a quarterback that has an ego and wants to throw it. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you can
Please,
do a lot worse
please,
at
please,
that point in the
please,
draft.
please don't make fun of my AD shares right now, please. They're sensitive. They're sensitive. They're in a sensitive spot. He's getting so much good buzz out of camp, though. Oh man,
Yes.
he should be on the rising chart. However, we'll keep him in the 18th just for you guys. Just for you guys. Daniel Jones up 5 picks. A little more certainty about, and there's some correlation here with A-Rich falling, Daniel Jones rising, sort of switching spots in the 17th, 18th here. There's still plenty of room, in my opinion, for Daniel Jones to have a bad first half of the season and A-Rich still come in. We don't know really about the health. It's not a good sign that he's having similar trouble to the same throwing shoulder as last year. A guy that likes to run the ball, very easy to get re-injured, and that's obviously where his upside is. It's not with his throwing ability. Are you going to be mixing in Daniel Jones? I am a little more with a little more confidence of him getting that starting role and him having the job to lose it. Right, he's going to get that chance. Better O line in Indy, a good run game, and we know he's had some success with a good run game ahead of him. Now he's going to have JT instead of Barkley with the Giants from years past. Do you like Daniel Jones? Does he have room to go up from 194?
So there's questions. Do I like Daniel Jones? No. Do not like drafting Daniel Jones. Do I think it's unreasonable or bad to draft Daniel Jones? No. I think it's actually this pretty logical way where he's actually boosting a lot of the receivers. This is actually it's a good play caller and like he can do more with an actual professional quarterback. And so I could see that outcome for sure. I just look at I like Jackson Dart better personally than Daniel
Ooh,
Jones
spice. Yeah.
just because of timing wise. I think where Daniel
Mhm.
Jones is likely to fall off his end of season, where Jackson Dart's kind of ascending, and maybe it's a how you've built your team kind of deal. But you really shouldn't
Yeah.
ever be in the situation where you're at least thinking about the current quarterback situation, environment. There's not many he's not going to start for several weeks kind of guy. Drake
Mhm.
May last year, you knew he wasn't going to start. There was I feel like a
Right,
list of guys
right,
last
right.
year. This year, it's not the case.
Yeah. So, question: do you like Daniel Jones better or Anthony Richardson for that reason? If you are right now trying to predict what games are going to play, you think A-Rich has a higher chance of playing at the end of the season, be it Indy out of the playoffs. Do you like A-Rich better for that reason right now still?
No, though, because I'm not convinced that he's actually going to play too. This is such a muddy situation. Um, I feel like at quarterback you don't have to do that. The problem is with Anthony Richardson, he's got break the slate kind of ability.
Yeah, for
And that's
sure,
it's
for
just
sure.
oh, what do you do about that? I don't know. And quarterbacks where you could cover it up. So this is such a tricky
Mhm.
situation to figure out how to handle. I don't have a great answer for you.
I agree. I think you could be on either side of this coin and you could both be right at the same time. It's sort of like Dobbins last year. Like, both people were right. The people that faded him, he ends up getting hurt for the most important weeks. The people that didn't fade him, he was in an amazing advanced rate piece. Thank Lord. Thank Lord I was on that one because I would have really been hurting with some of
Mhm.
my exposures. But Jones, A-Rich, Jones is most likely going to get the start. He's probably going to lose the job at some point. Probably. If he doesn't, he would end up being a really, really good value in the 190s, in the 200s. If you knew he was going to start all 17 games this year, realistically, I'm probably putting him ahead of Penix. I'd put him I'd put him in
Absolutely.
like the 130 range, or maybe ahead of JJ McCarthy, like right behind Love.
Yeah, because I mean, people are oh, it's Anthony Richardson. Now it's Daniel Jones. Offense materially changes. I don't know if that's the case. Daniel Jones is pretty athletic, right? That's a known thing. He runs the football, so they don't have to just wipe it clean and go with a different like
Right.
system. So I do
Right.
think that Daniel Jones has like this very interesting RPO fit there that could do really well for fantasy.
I agree. I agree. They have some offensive weapons there. It's not just one guy. They get him some help with the Warren, who's also going to be good as a run blocker. It's a pretty good spot. It's a pretty good spot for day dimes. So I am
Mhm.
trying to mix in some more dimes and another easy one to backstack, either whether it be Alec Pierce or AD. And Alec Pierce playing in a large majority of those two wide receiver sets last year. All right. To the fallers, Jalen Knoll, as I assume the Christian Kirk positive coach speak comes out and some of the positive buzz around Kirk with the kind words from Nico Collins. Knoll getting a slight slip here to the 170s. That range of what, and it's not really a big fall just due to where he goes, but that range is like, Douglas is getting good coach speak, so he's probably going to fall behind Douglas. Alec Pierce, I could see him going behind both of these guys, and
Mhm.
I have Keenan Allen ranked. I'd have him above Knoll, but we're still waiting on that landing spot. What are your thoughts on Knoll with, sort of how busy Houston is with all these receivers? Is is he the bet you want to make uh getting into these three wide receiver sets?
No, not really. I think what's tough here is he's the definition of like rookie excitement. We got excited about a guy that we didn't know the unknown potential, theoretical, what could be, and so he snapped up
Mm,
the board early. I think that would have happened no matter where he went. That's kind of what happens with all rookies, and now people are getting like they're like head on straight, figuring out how these situations are going to land.
right,
And
right.
if he seems to be the second option in the slot, that's not what you're looking for. You kind of made the comment earlier about drafting a wide receiver fours in
Mm,
like in the at all realistically, but like um, at least not until the last round, and like he's not in the last round. So he's a guy that will fall like pretty significantly by people in a room that may know what they're doing. So like I've landed on him a couple times within a Stroud stack that was like felt like 20 picks after ADP, and maybe that's
yeah,
why he is
right,
falling so
right.
quickly. But I think there's still a chance there, but it's not going to. I think that this will continue to move down before it stables out. Like it is gonna, this is gonna settle in the last round, kind of ADP.
I I would assume so too. Where you at least know like Douglas is going to have some sort of role, especially with a good coach beak. Alec Pierce is playing like 92% of two wide receiver sets, so he's someone that I would clearly have above Knoll right now. Michael Wilson,
Wide
never
receiver
someone,
two,
never someone didn't add anybody.
yeah.
DeAndre, I
Keenan
just kind
Allen
of
we like.
yeah.
De'Ami Brown is
Slayton,
yeah. Like these are Calvin Austin. Like we talked about some of these guys with. I think that maybe Yoshivas Coker is a better logical range for him. Adonai
yeah,
Mitchell, like those
yeah,
feel more logical. Some of the yeah, he's going to move down a little bit.
yeah. I agree. I agree. Johnny Smith, I'm loving this one because we sort of had a soft fade in the high 90s, and now we can get him at 114. Um,
Yeah,
his
can you
range,
click on him?
and this is obviously this is just due to the contract shit that so yeah, he had this big fall from 96 May 29th uh all the way down to, I mean, this is beautiful now. 114 is such a better range. It's like this is what I've been waiting for. However, I didn't expect it to come this way. It's just where I had him valued. Now you have a little bit of risk with the tug and pull that they're playing. He wants more money. The team's basically saying, "Okay, we'll just trade you." Um, Man, he's not going behind Warren, so this is sort of as cheap as he's going to get, in my opinion. Behind
Yeah,
Ingram now.
absolutely.
This is just, it seems like a good range for him.
Yeah, he's got for him to move positional rank. That's like a full round. What is he? 113, and the next one's at 126.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's like a full round that he would have to move. So it's gonna
yeah,
take a little bit. It does mean he's getting kind of like this no man's land. Like
Mm,
behind Ingram for a like a half a round, ahead of the next guy for a full round. So that is just something to note while you're drafting. But if you can you flip back to the best ball overlay chart? I think this is really interesting. It like from a trend line perspective, we have two real inflections here. Okay, it's straight,
mm,
nothing's happening. He's on the Dolphins. It was a great play last year. People like him again, not as high as he finished last year, but still
right.
like him. Then the news comes out that he might get traded. He might go back to Arthur Smith. That could be a disaster, right? And then so that goes down, but it seems to settle out. And then it hits that point June 9th where it just goes turbocharged again. And it
Yeah.
doesn't seem to have settled. So I do wonder if like there's more like falling in line or if
Mm,
if we're starting to see like a settle out again. So I don't
right.
know. I think it's really curious from like a data perspective. Sorry for me being nerdy with the chart,
No, I
but
like it.
I thought that
Yeah,
was
you're
pretty
right.
cool.
You're right. And can he fall behind some of these receivers, running backs, QBs? Certainly. It
Yeah,
would
for sure.
be,
Those are names that we like especially the quarterbacks.
yeah.
Like, scroll up slightly.
Yeah.
Dak,
Dak,
Goff,
Goff, May.
May, like all. I would assume he's behind all those guys.
Yeah. But and then the rookies. I mean, these guys can also get pretty big bumps with positive news. I mean, Colson Loveland's at 126 and he hasn't practiced yet, right? He's still trying to get healthy from an injury from college. So if he does get back on the field for training camp, he's going to get that boost. And you could see those two a lot closer, if not flipped. I'd still have Jonnu ahead of him just with Komet's still there. Komet's still going to be a thing this year, although I'm not overly worried. I want Loveland. But yeah, Tyler Warren, like these guys can get pretty big bumps being rookies and just the excitement around them, especially if you know which indie QB to draft. You might get a little more hype on Tyler Warren.
Yeah, I mean Tyler Warren is we nuked him because his Indianapolis horrible landing spot. Quarterback can't hit the broadside of a
Yeah.
barn. Like they
Yeah.
don't even want to throw it with them
Yeah.
anyways. Like,
Yeah.
but that doesn't that change now? And we saw like, oh, the receivers Pittman and Downs, they've had like improvements to their ADP because of
Right.
this news about Anthony Richardson. So why isn't Tyler Warren? Maybe Tyler Warren is getting a little bit. He's not on any of these like risers charts, but should have get some. He should have some helium in there too if we think that he's going to be now in a better passing situation.
Yeah, no, I agree with really no backup there that you're too worried about. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's definitely pretty good situation there for Tyler Warren. I agree. A Rich, we covered. Devin Neal continues to fall as no one really knows who's going to be the RB2 in New Orleans at this point. The most recent coach speak, and I get this from Greg at the Coach Speak Index, is they're putting a lot on the rookies' plates, and as they take it, they give them more. So Neil at least gets mentioned. Kendra hasn't been mentioned in a little while. However, that one drill where he's coming off the ball, like they start on their back and they roll and they whatever they go through the rest of the drill. It was like extremely slow the way he got up, and everyone just knocked him for that. It seems like he's just fallen since that video's
Yeah,
come out.
he looked unathletic. It was
Yeah,
unreal. Like, I want to see some like would be a great like montage is like a list of like uh, best ball streamers doing that same drill and seeing, and then you stick in the Saints guy, and you're gonna probably have some best ballers doing it better.
yeah. Dude, I wish like Kendre could not be a thing this year. Like if we could just not do that, I would gladly draft Neil over him. But I don't know if there's a situation where you actually want the RB2 in New Orleans. Obviously with the Kamara injury, someone's you would hope would eat, but it could be just a pretty good split between a couple guys, and there is no success story there, sort of like what we saw with Kendre last year. Luther Burden, he's missing some important snaps and
Mhm.
important reps as a rookie, has yet to get out there and practice, continues to fall. This is 30-day trend of 17 spots, 7-day trend of 5.5 spots. You guys can get this for free. Just create an account on bestballoverlay.com. And this is also trending. Seems like it is going to continue to slide here.
Yeah, and I'm like super disappointed in this. I like Luther Burden. Just like I like his tape, and I mean I understand that he's not necessarily this like super polished receiver like some other guys, but that coming out like, but he is electric. And I think
Yeah.
that you put like a really good play caller that figures out how to get this electric guy quality touches. I don't know. I was like excited about that concept and him maybe fitting into like wide receiver 2 for the Bears. But no, I mean, this is like the coach speak is just nasty. Like he's just like, you're missing really important time. It's super disappointing. We had high hopes, blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, oh, yeah.
And at the same time, right, you're having Colson Loveland also fall due to the injury and a rookie again not getting out there. Very important with some of these early snaps here. But you have DJ
Also,
Moore.
really cool feature. Really cool
Yeah,
feature, by
yeah.
the way.
Being able to just check out the whole team, right? DJ Moore not getting that bump. Roma Dunze also not getting that bump where, man, these guys are pretty certain at the very least, like very far ahead of the rookies who, they both slide and no one else in the offense is really benefiting from it. Do you think DJ Moore should get a bump or Romo Dunze?
Yeah, I'm definitely drafting both of these guys. I think that maybe not necessarily. I don't. This is a good question. Like, I don't want them to get a bump because I want to draft them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I think that they're just good picks where they're at, especially if we're buying into the Bears being better. So like, I don't know. I like drafting the two of them, and not you can get the top 2 receivers on a team that should cook this year, or that's a hope for them to. Don't want to say should cook this year, but that's a
Mm,
hope for them. Um, and yeah, so like I like DJ Moore. I like Roma Dunze. Right now, what about you?
yes. I think it's the perfect time. If you're in on them, if you're in on them before, you should be even more in on them. It's going to take a little while for Luther Burden to establish himself, get the playbook down, get that connection with Caleb, who we saw Caleb in Rome, and that connection was off as a rookie. So, 2 rookies obviously going to be a little harder coming to the league.
Mm-hmm.
However, yeah, they're important snaps, and it's going to be interesting to see if and what point do they come back, and does anything else pop up?
Mm-hmm.
Because if this remains a 2 wide receiver room between the two there, like, goddamn, like Keenan Allen's out of town. that's
Mm-hmm.
the biggest target earner last year. Like, he's out of town. These guys are gonna feast. All right, what do you say we get into the little segment here where we're gonna just rip through, because we have 20 minutes, which is a good amount of time to do this. Let's go through your QB tiers and we'll see how they match up to mine. And I'm curious because we did not discuss before the show anything
Zero
about the
discussion.
tiers. Yeah,
Quite literally zero discussion.
this is just going to be straight from. I'll start with my tier 1. I have Allen, and I also have Lamar, and wasn't really a contest. I kind of wanted to put Allen alone. Thought about it just to get spicy, but I'll pass it to you.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. I think that I do go Lamar than Allen, but I don't think there's much to really like discuss here. These are 2 established stars, like real life stars and fantasy stars. Individual game ceiling through the roof, season long ceiling through the roof. I do think from I know I promised projections at some point, and that's not something I have yet. Life's been busy, sorry, but
Yeah,
like the like Lamar had just ran really hot from a touchdown perspective last year, and Josh
mm,
Allen was kind of like on the opposite side of that.
right.
So That's why I think it's logical that Allen is number one, because if you're just doing a little bit of regression both sides, you think Allen
Mm-hmm.
scores a little more touchdowns,
Yeah,
Mark scores a little bit less, but like premium players, and this is why we draft guys early. Like this is the definition of elite
yeah,
quarterbacks. Not you don't want like it'll drop off kind of quickly, but these guys are like the cream of the crop kind of picks.
for sure. No, I want my 8% of both of these guys because I want to be in on these offenses more so
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore pieces than Buffalo. No surprise there. Who do you have in your second tier?
So I have this. It's a two-man tier as well, and this is where you're going to kind of finish off like what the elite guys with rushing upside. So
Mm-hmm.
Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts. I do think it is interesting that Jalen Hurts is like a full like 8 picks behind Jaden Daniels. I think Jaden Daniels done it one
I
time.
agree.
Jalen Hurts has done it several times. So yeah, I think that both really interesting. I could see some level of like the league trying to press back against Jaden Daniels. So we'll see.
I have it this way. I have actually Hurts ahead of JD, but yeah, it's pretty
Mm-hmm.
pretty even there.
And then can I
QB.
do like QB2A? Because I think that Joe Burrow is like the elite pocket passer, both from
Mm-hmm.
like the way that the offense is designed to just chuck it is a ton, but also he is really really good, and they've got the weapons to make it happen. So like I don't feel like we're gonna move down. Like look at the ADPs, and this we're kind of just like getting our tiers aligned with ADPs. That's kind of what I'm talking about, but
Yeah,
he
yeah.
doesn't. He's materially higher than the next wave of
Hmm.
guys, but he isn't this
Can
running quarterback that you see up listed ahead of him. So like that's why
can
I'm
he
like two
get
A.
can he get to the QB1 tier for you?
Yeah, I mean absolutely.
He
He
can.
did it last year. Um, I just think that it has to kind of like run hot kind of situation for
Playing a
him.
lot of
But
games from behind.
yeah, and they hit everything was a perfect storm last year, and it honestly doesn't look much different this year. So I know that like again from the projections perspective, you're supposed to regress to like historical averages and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
he is such an outlier, and the team situation is such an outlier
yeah,
that he is like a tier two, tier like even potentially one kind of guy. He is an elite talent for sure.
yeah. Definitely. Definitely. He has, yeah, exactly. We saw it last year. Do the stars have to align where their passing attack has to be on the whole game, and the threat of not making the playoffs, and there was a lot on the season last year where it was like no pressure was taken off Joe Burrow at all, and they had to go
Mm-hmm.
full tilt offense, and you saw a perfect storm of a beautiful fantasy year, a big reason of why we came in second in the MMG. Tier 3, who do you have? I'm assuming you said 2A. We'll give you 2A for Burrow, and I don't disagree there. I have a hard time putting him up here with the rushing upside, and
Mm-hmm.
just with from the floor standpoint, I think a lot less has to go right for them to still pay out. Burrow, not a lot's changed this year besides getting some better pieces on defense. So I do agree. I'd throw him in like a subdivision there as well.
Yeah, for sure. And then now this is like a pretty. Now you get into like these big fat tiers, right? like,
Ooh,
um,
interesting. I have a 2-person tier for this next one. I love this.
and so I have it at four. I'm trying to think of 4 people right now.
Let's go.
Mahomes, Baker, Kyler Murray. Actually, we'll put it at 5. Bo Nix, Justin Fields. Give me all of them in one
What do you
group.
say, Murray,
Murray, Bo Nix,
Fields,
Justin Fields.
Knicks?
And
All
like
right.
I'm like questionable on Nix is like, but I don't know. I think I'm gonna do it. But yes.
Mine is just Murray and Mahomes. I do think Fields could sneak into this category as well because he's someone that, man, if he has the season where he hits the nuts, he could go up to the QB2 territory. I don't really see him reaching 1. Could it happen? I am a little worried about some of the weapons that the Jets, it's really just running through Garrett Wilson and Mason Taylor. That's why I sort of kept him in this next tier, T4 for me. But yeah, what's the
I
I
think
know
it's hard for
Mayfield.
me. Yeah, so it's like it's each one of these guys has their own like version of why I like them. Um, and it's like we have Mahomes is a fantastic quarterback. I think he's a better real life quarterback than fantasy, and I think that is what's harder. It's hard to separate those two truly here, because like if I like isolated my like crossed off the name, crossed off the picture,
Mm.
he might actually not even be in this tier. But respect to a stud, we'll put him here. Baker, I mean, he's been great this last several years. Deserves to
Yeah, he
be
has.
here. Um, he's an absolute dog. He's someone. I have some level of like I want to draft guys I like to watch and root for, and I absolutely love to watch and root for him.
Yeah,
Um,
and they add weapons, right? I mean, they bring in Amika,
mhm.
who's gonna be it's gonna be insurance for Godwin, but also should have a pretty big role on in the 3 wide receiver sets as well. Or if Godwin like can't go early season, they should be pretty seamless. And McMillan is a wide receiver 4 now in that offense. Like they're definitely gonna cook.
Yeah, and it's like kind of like the. I mean, Baker's done really well, like in a real life quarterback perspective, but it's like Mahomes and him have this opposite thing where like Mahomes is a star real life football, but has like because he's not as it seemed to the aggressiveness has gone away, like
Mhm.
his like fantasy upside seems to have like reduced a little bit. Baker like slings it and like is pretty aggressive, which leads to these awesome fantasy outcomes, and so that's why I'm like in on Baker. Kyler
Yeah.
Murray, fan of his. I think that we know who he is right now. I love that he's like a runner, but he's not
Yeah.
like a Fields level runner. Um, so like that he's some level of cap, but he also does have like a pretty good floor. We like
Mm. And
Kyler.
coach speak
Yeah.
around Kyler too is like they want him out of the pocket making those big plays on broken plays, and they want him
Mhm.
running more. So this next season, after another year removed of injury, yeah, he's in a really good situation.
Yeah, for sure. So there's hope that he could bounce back into like early career running form. I don't know. I think he's more of just like a super athletic quarterback or a pretty athletic quarterback, mobile, but not the runner that we see with some of these other guys. Justin Fields, kind of guy that could break fantasy with the way he runs the football. I understand
Mhm.
like the um, this is like a range of outcomes things for him with Fields. Like some of the other guys in this tier, like you feel pretty confident who they are.
Right,
Fields
right, right.
could break everything and just be
Yeah,
like QB4
yeah,
and be
yeah,
awesome, have with big
yeah,
spikes in
yeah,
there, play the whole season. But he also could stink. Like
yeah.
I understand they don't have elite people
Certainly.
on their roster, but he could like be a non-professional quarterback level
Yeah.
bad. So and if that's the case, you don't want to draft him in fantasy. So that's why it's like tough to make him
But
higher. But yeah,
But he'll still have that single game ceiling where it's like, oh yeah, he could still put up, he could still have QB1 on the week, any week, when he goes off on the ground. So no, I agree. He's someone that could go in the tier ahead by the end of the season, or he could be someone that, he should have been in the 5th tier. Bo
yeah.
Nix. Bo Nix is an interesting one.
Yeah, Bo Nix I like. Just he was great last year. I mean,
Yeah.
he was athletic, throws the ball deep, but like but he also likes to kind of just like nickel and dime his way down the field too. Like I like what he does. I like that Sean Payton seems to like have a really good like mesh with what he does well. So
Mm,
I'm excited for him. I think that he's like on the borderline of this next tier, but I think the rushing upside is why I
yeah.
push him up.
They give him Ingram, they give him Harvey, now J.K.
Mhm.
Dobbins, get some weapons around him. I like it. I don't mind him being bumped into this tier as well. Also has some rushing upside, sort of like May. I have him a little closer to May than I do Mahomes and Murray, but he could definitely land there. I'll start with my next tier because this one is pretty massive for me. Knicks, Mayfield, uh, Fields, and these are in no order.
Mhm.
I have Prescott here. I have Goff here. I have this tier as being extremely, extremely flat. I have Caleb Williams. I have May. And I actually snuck in Herbert in this range as well. He's the one that's like, yeah, it's going to take some more projected pass volume to get up with this crew, but I still think it's in the range of outcomes for him to have a very good season. I'd have him closer to this group of people than I would like T-Law, Love, JJ McCarthy. That's where I ultimately fell with tier 4.
Yeah, I agree with this. So there's one name that's not on here that I mean I would just copy all the same names. I also have Brock Purdy in this tier. I think that the
Okay.
offense is really
Oh yeah,
good. He
Purdy.
he definitely gets boosted by the offense. I think if you could make the argument that this tier is a lot longer too.
You could definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So like yeah, I kind of agree with whoever's left on this. So yeah.
Perfect. For now, it's I had Purdy written down. I don't know. My eyes skipped. Perfect. Tier 5.
Yeah, tier 5. So Jordan Love for sure.
Yep.
I got Trevor Lawrence in here.
Yep.
And then CJ Stroud.
And Stroud.
Yeah.
I like it. I went with T-Law, Love, Stroud, Tua, Staffy, and JJ McCarthy. I think another big tier. I think Staffy's one of the better values, in my opinion, at the QB position. If you're just looking at values, Tua, pretty similar, in my opinion. It's going to take just the team staying healthy, which might be a long shot. And maybe that's why he should actually be in the next tier. But I do think it's in the range of outcomes that Tua outscores everyone in this range. So it's hard for me not to put him here. But yeah, Love, T-Law, and Stroud. I'm also really I'm okay with that as well, to be honest.
Yeah, and the reason I split it up, and so it's the same group for me, but in tier 6.
Yep.
So like I don't know if how you want to do that, but the reason I kind of split it into 2 rather than 1, I think that there is more like ceiling to the Love T-Law Stroud contingent. Like Tua and Stafford, I don't think that we know that like who they are. They're not like there's not more in there from what we've seen. Like I think that there could be more in there from Love, T-Law, and Stroud. JJ McCarthy, I have not seen him play like the professional football. Like how am I supposed to make a logical like assessment here on this?
Yeah.
I understand he's in like a beautiful situation, like great skill position players, awesome
Oh yeah.
like coach play caller, so like completely get it. But yeah, I think there's Bradshaw just made a comment. T-Law finishing a top 5 quarterback. I think that this loves T-Law Stroud like group is like there's potential that one of them could easily be a top I don't know 8 guy, and that
Oh yeah.
they're all like
Certainly.
super talented.
Certainly.
Just run a little hot on touchdowns this year. So
Certainly.
I'm excited for all 3 of them and drafting them for sure.
Yeah, I like that. So in your next tier, you'd have Tua, Staffy, and JJ McCarthy.
Yeah,
Or
for
is he in?
sure.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know where to put him, right? Like I don't want to put him too low. Like the next wave of quarterbacks, I'm like definitely don't have this. I don't think they have like the ceiling that McCarthy does.
Yep.
But yeah.
I'll start ripping my T6. Penix, Young, Gino, Darnold, Ward, and Rodgers. And if Staffy somehow found his way, not Staffy, excuse me, Cousins, if he somehow found his way to like New Orleans, he would fall. He'd fall in this range for me if he had a starting gig.
Yeah, that's like that kind of I agree with all of this. It's like it wraps up the quarterbacks that really don't have like this uncertainty around their role.
Right. Right.
Um, Penix is the starter. Bryce Young is the starter. Geno's the starter. Cam Ward's the starter. Penix is still a little bit of an unknown perspective. I think that it's not
Definitely.
too dissimilar from like the JJ McCarthy thing I
I
just
agree.
said,
I
but
agree.
I think that it's a better offense of environment for JJ McCarthy. But I don't know. Michael Penix could sling it. Like
Mhm.
that's very possible. Bryce Young, like I don't know. He's the 101 drafted. So like I don't know. Maybe he turns around, but I don't think that the ceiling's
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Geno Smith, we know who he is,
Mm.
and
Would
let's
Penix
keep going.
do you think Penix would have been the 101 this year if he was in this year's draft class with like Cam Ward
That's a good question.
and like JJ McCarthy, right? Like would these guys
Yeah,
have been the 101 this year? And I mean, obviously the landing spots are ideal, and we're going to be mixing these guys in as we find correlation. So we're sort of splitting hairs between the two.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, it's an
yeah.
interesting exercise.
Is it? And I'm not like that's not my game. It's like the rookie like prospect profiling, put level,
Right.
ranking them
Right.
all up. I do think it is notable that someone who went middle, not middle, but like what when did Penix go? Like pick 10, 12, something like that. And would be the 101 conversation for this year. So like I
Right.
just think it kind of speaks to the how like so much of a star Cam Ward doesn't seem to be, but we'll see.
Yeah. So I'm assuming you have the rest of this group in tier 7. Do you have any splits
Yeah.
in there?
I'm trying to think about it. I do not have Cousins ranked. I can tell you that. Uh,
On the same.
yeah, but outside of that, it's the same group. Yeah, for sure.
All right.
And this is like to this point, like I'm not really trying to draft guys this late. Like I understand, like, and where these guys go, it is not. It's not like it's the end of the draft either. So I think it is interesting. I think last year you would have seen these guys be a little bit more expensive or a little cheaper, but maybe it's just
Mhm.
the environment of more people drafting three quarterbacks.
Could be.
I don't
Certainly.
know, but like,
Certainly.
yeah, they're not like nothing picks,
Right. Now, well,
especially
now
like
we have
Penix.
now we're getting a little more certainty on like the Jones situation, like Rogers. We're still getting these cheap QBs late that it's like, oh, I'll just add on a third QB. And Darnold goes super late and he's with the contract he has. So here was
Mm-hmm.
like my tier 8. I had Daniel Jones, Dart, A Rich, Flacco / Sanders, kind of in the
Yeah.
same range. Because I think there's a chance we see both at this point in this year. I guess I should put Russ in here as well with Dart. Russ, at least we expect him to start the season here and eventually lose the job. I think is sort of how everyone sees that situation. Now it's the long-term answer.
Yeah, and I mean you can see your list is all these like uncertain situations.
Yeah.
Tyler Show, how do you? I don't know how to say his name.
Yeah,
I'm even waiting
Tyler.
for
Yeah.
some announcer to say it so I can just
Shuck.
follow. Shuck.
Yeah.
How does that phonetically work?
He goes here for me too. It's yeah, like right now he's the guy, but I am trying not to draft too much unless I'm completely locked and I somehow have like uh yeah, if you have like a Kamara Olave or Kamara and Shahid in that situation, I'm willing to add him in. You can get a late Juwan, pretty easy stack, but yeah, I can put him here as well. But I don't love to draft him, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. I'm in agreement with you there. So I know we have to wrap up soon. Um, is there anyone else listed that maybe not drafting them, but do you like the idea of them?
Well, it's Cousins. If Cousins
Yeah.
somehow gets moved to like New Orleans, I think that'd be an ideal spot for him. Um, could Levis get moved? Not that I'd be interested in drafting him, but Jalen Milroe, but in my opinion, it's going to take an injury to Darnold. Like if Darnold plays bad, it's probably going to be more so due to the O-line rather than Darnold just being like a terrible quarterback. And in that case, like a rookie coming in with the bad O-line's not really the best situation either, although Drake May did fine. So who knows?
Yeah, and
That's
yeah, I totally agree with all of that. I'd say probably my biggest disappointment for this fantasy season though is not getting like full Jameis Winston. I was excited when he signed with the Giants. Like me and my buddies have this group chat, and we've been following Jameis Winston's antics. Like he's the best interview in all of the NFL and he has been for like a decade. So I'm disappointed we don't get to see like prime time New York Jameis Winston, like just throwing 40 touchdowns and 40 interceptions.
And it's not even like, oh, it's going to take an injury. It's going to take freaking 2 injuries to see the dude play football this year. So, yeah, they got him for the locker room. I think we're still going to get some of the antics from him and some of the huddle speeches from him this season. So it'll be fun to look on. But no 30 for 30 season from Jameis Winston this year.
Yeah, unfortunately not.
All right, guys, I appreciate you coming out. We just got off a little 4-day vacay with the fam. The only thing I have planned this whole summer. So if you want to help pump the YouTube algo, if you guys enjoyed this episode, drop a like, hit the sub. We're on the road to 3K, and give Billy a follow at SportsVizBJ, Billy Jones on the Twitter machine. Link is also in the description of the video. We will have a stream tomorrow on the Fanspeak Network doing Jeopardy against Bindles. Bindles, get ready, buddy. Get ready. Nice.
Yeah,
you're good, bro.
You got in like the Legends Jeopardy. Like, look at you.
I can't even talk. I suck at Jeopardy. I'm bad.
It's not like real Jeopardy. It's not real Jeopardy. It's about.
No, I know.
I mean, it is real Jeopardy, but it's about the stuff that you actually know. It's not like random facts.
Exactly. But yeah, if you guys want to check that out, Fanspeak Network, and we will catch you guys on a live stream draft soon. Hopefully Thursday. We'll be doing some BBM. We'll get some guests on for this weekend, and we'll start cooking up. But I appreciate you guys. If you guys want the ADP stuff, bestballbit.com. Have a good one. Pounders.